Well, hello there, everybody. I think we are live. Let me see. Yes, it says we are. So, hey, I'm going to follow the machine on this one. It's like, yeah, we're live. All right. So good to see everybody as I get over here. And there we go. Just like that. So, welcome everyone. It is Prosperity Day. That's what Mondays are. So, happy prosperity. And I guess I should say happy occult day. I know people call it Halloween, but if you really want to look at it, I think it could be justified to say happy occult day. This is the day that everybody, all religions, everybody celebrates. Yeah. Are we progressing or what? I don't know. I guess it would be your point of view. So, welcome again. Favor be upon us all, be of service to others. And again, happy Prosperity Day. And hey, if you got a birthday or anniversary, live it to its max. Speaking of prosperity, Powerball, $1 billion, you know, hey, if even if you don't play the lotteries, and a lot of people don't, I can dig that. A lot of people, gambling, hey, listen, let everyone do their own thing and we'll all be happy. But anyway, for $1 billion, a chance at it. Why not? Right. So welcome everybody in the chat room. Hello, moderators. I love you all. You are, in fact, the glue that holds this whole thing we call a soul tribe gathering together. Thank you all for your dedication and service. Way to go. And everybody else, I mean, I'd make you all moderators, but get kind of confusing then, right? Lost in Space, Scotty Boy, Elderberry, how you doing, my friend? Truth Seeker, Kelly, good to see you. And Jackie, Scotty Boy, John Price, good to see you, brother. Queen of the Swords, how are you, my dear? Angel Dreams, I love that handle. Great to see you. Appreciate you being in here. Hey, Blazing River, what's happening? A go, good to see you. Jules, much love to you. And Susie Q, hello. So, what else? I apologize for my tardiness on answering emails. Reason why I wasn't here on Friday, I was actually laid up. Pulled a groin muscle. Sucks. It's amazing when the body gets out of balance, but hey, things happen, and you just speak to your body and you love it. It has the most amazing ability to heal itself. My body heals rather quickly, according to my wife, who's been a nurse for a very long time. We're amongst those healers that we do heal, and we do heal remarkably quick. But I attributed it as well as laying hands on myself every morning, speaking love over my body, thanking my body for, wow, just what a trip. I mean, when you're in agreement with your body, oh, baby, the trip here is beautiful despite all the other crap. I mean, these are earth suits and they are freaking amazing. It's amazing what they can do. They can levitate. They can disappear. It's remarkable. All the main functions of its ability to exist in this realm goes on without our consciousness. I don't know about you, but I guess that kind of validates the whole thing about a body spirit. I think so. So what's happening, Bonnie? Good to see you, my dear. You know how I did that? Actually, unloading lumber. Yeah. The thing about leaves, they're slick at times. Yeah. And, I knew immediately, when you lose that stepping, and that's in case that's how I did it. And yeah. You just got to smile. Although wasn't smiling there at the beginning, got to tell you, hey, Pearl Jones, happy birthday to Bumpy Johnson. Well, that's good, my dear Planet X Hunter. Hope how you doing? Carlos, hello. Jargo, Who else? Eye of the Maelstrom. How are you doing? Good to see you. There you are, Carlos. I see you. Skywatcher. Yeah. Where I live now, I don't have any light pollution, and I got a full view. It's and the moon. Wow. Yeah. Grace, how you doing, dear? Good to see you, Nancy. Hello. I cut 4 cords of wood, lost in space. You're the dude, man. You be the dude, man. That's impressive. That's a lot of cutting, as they would say. So, what else? Let's see. So here's a question. Are all spirits human? Do you stay human when you transcend to being just a spirit? And then the question becomes, are you really just a spirit on the other side? And then you begin to think about this, and if you see all the evidence that cameras are capturing now, and et cetera, I'll be introducing y'all to, I got a full spectrum camera. Wow. So that's going to be fun. Bernadette, good to see you as well. Regine, hello. Ballot Brand. Odin, how you doing? So, now these things that these cameras capture, I mean, it leads to a lot of questions because, well, I don't know about you, but for the most part of my life, I just merely assumed what I was told was right. That's the problem and the danger with misplaced faith in anything, politics, religion, philosophy, occult, just saying, for a friend, that if they're capturing these things, which the cameras are, I mean, the cameras see the full spectrum, what happens here? I mean, because some of them are not human. Now, I may be biased in that because I am a human, but then again, what is a human? Too many questions, right? Very few answers. But anyway, they're grotesque. I mean, damn right ugly. Of course, as the one spirit being told me, I was an ugly son of a bitch. Well, all right, so we're even. Cool. I mean, I can dig that. But still, I mean, is that human? Because think about this. If they're not human, then that means we're occupying space with, all right, we can say it, aliens. I mean, if it's non-Earth, but then wait a minute. If they're on the Earth and in the ethereal realm, maybe they are from Earth. Because if you believe in the concept of everything is cyclical, which means you would then lend yourself to the thought of reincarnation, which I think has no validation, but that's just me. And I've read the stories and the accounts. But I also believe that we have the ability to receive and transmit thoughts, which means our natural state would be telepathic. But then that then begs the question, are all spirits telepathic? It seems to take a lot of energy to even communicate a few words. But getting back to this thought that, all right, if they are of Earth, then what are they? Do they have a certain hierarchy over humans, or what we would consider humans, at least this version? Because, they're pretty grotesque looking. Now, many of them appear to be bipedal, but just because you're bipedal doesn't mean you're human. Okay. And then that brings up the question, then why is it necessary even to be any form on the ethereal front? But in any case, they're here. We capture them. I was watching one of the shows, and it showed, I believe that the young man was in Argentina, San Carlos, Argentina. And he's basically doing, camera of himself. I don't know if he was streaming it or not, but so he's got the camera and it's faced right at him. And in the peripheral, you can see, by the way, check that series out on Amazon. Woo! Yeah, I think a lot of those people that write that stuff listen to a lot of what we're saying because, yeah, you're going, hey, wait a minute. But anyway, I digress. So in the peripheral part, you can see his chest drawers, and it's inches from the wall. But as he's recording, this face, this being, it appears to be young. It appears to look like a young girl, female. Problem is the nose. It's not human. And upon closer examination, there's something else going on here because the image is real. I mean, you can see it. I mean, kid wasn't, CG and I it. But anyway, so they whatever they are, they can and do manifest themselves, which means that their bodies, like ours, are having a reaction to photons. So that tells me the spirit realm is affected by photons and by the atom as well, but I digress. But the weird thing was the shadow. And the shadow, as I was telling my wife, I said, if you looked at this, we do a freeze frame of it. I said, it appears that the shadow and this being are in multi-dimensions. So what's going on here? Now, the young man saw it, freaked him out, rightfully so. And so he immediately gets up and the camera's rolling and you can see the chest drawers. He pulled it out from the wall. So that implies that there's gateways, portals. That implies that if this ability of this creature, I don't think it was human, but maybe it was. Yeah. And it appears that many of us have opened portals throughout our lives, not even realizing it. The religion that I was a part of, Christianity, particularly the charismatic side of it, holy crapola bat, man. I mean, yeah, we opened some portals, and the damnedest thing about that is that we didn't close them. You didn't block them. They're left open. Now, if this realm is as beyond our comprehension right now, I think that's why we're going to be talking about our human's curse, but our perception of the realm that we're in is so finite. When we look at these images coming out now from Hubble and now James Webb, wow. And then when you put in the full light spectrum, wow, we have no idea what we're looking at. We're guessing. I mean, we're like the primates at the zoo throwing our own feces at each other and saying, that is good. No, it's shit. It's plain and simple. But so if space is beyond our comprehension in its vastness, I mean, I'm looking at this camera and I can see the image behind me, but I know that I'm not alone in occupying this space. I can see all of you. Love all the moderators. Hey, Get Money Jones, how are you? So how many others are occupying this space? I think it was Hawkins who said that nature will not allow voids, vacuums. Now, we think space is a vacuum. It's not. some theorize, and I think they may be more right than others, that when we look at space, outer space, we're probably looking at a substance that we haven't even been able to define yet. Remember, we're still throwing our feces at each other, trying to figure out what this is all. Hey, Boxcar Willie, how are you? We are the children of a lesser God, cut off for now from the Creator who watches with amusement. Well, everyone has their own thought to that. As they would say, man, it's your thing. Go ahead and do it. But it's one of those things. I mean, in my 50 years of Christianity and studying the theology, and how many of you ever gotten the whole read the Bible in a year thing, and I look back and wow, very narrow. But for this discussion, and everyone, cheers. Held back on the cinnamon. Holy crap, I got to tell you. So, in my 50 years of initiation into the occult, because that's what it was, and it's amazing how people go through their whole lives never realizing they're being initiated into something that, not quite what it is. So my question is humanity cursed? You look at today, nothing is working. This ain't anything about positive thought and affirmation. You got to be a realist. You can't just simply say, no, that doesn't work. The fact is, our species is in a hell of a place right now. And it questions the whole thing of magic. Is magic just bullshit? Or is it just the pacification of one's ego? I don't know. Occultism. All right, the very name says that it's hidden. Well, if it's hidden, I don't know if anyone's found it. We may have found traces of it, but I'm just pointing out there because nothing is working. I read an article, in fact, it was yesterday because I couldn't get up. It was a little painful, still is. That the article was focused in on the fact that the world, as I speak, has never been closer to annihilation. I did a video last week on the fact that now we have countries wanting a nuclear exchange. You got to ask yourself, what's going on? Religion isn't working. Religion has failed mankind. And it's my position that when humanity matures and says, to hell with all these gods, with all this that they purport, because, you never get it right now. No. You have to be tried. You have to have your faith tried by fire, as Paul wrote. Yeah. Ain't that something? And you never get the promise. The promise is on the other side. I've never seen anyone actually collect. But a lot of people believe they got the golden ticket for first class in that train. And yet, 2,000 years of modern day, religion has failed us miserably. Politics have failed us. Society in itself has failed us. It seems like humanity has failed itself. And my whole point is, when humanity begins to mature enough and accept responsibility for our own destiny, not leaving in the hands of unseen make-believe so-called gods or goddesses, then that day there will be an opening in the realms because we just took our rightful position at the table. But as long as we continue to blame some unseen evil force and yet bow down and worship some unseen force that calls itself good, and we think that that's the plan, we're fucked. And we're seeing the results of it. I'm just telling you. Now, we're going to get in a little bit of theology. Jeffrey Doherty, I'm going to get to you, brother. Right now, I need to get some things cleared out here so we can focus in on that. But this would be one of these conversations that would probably be very entertaining. So my theology, my former religion, taught me that humanity is cursed. We're cursed with this thing called sin. And that's the element of the whole story. Now, we've got characters that egg this on, in which we've been told is Satan, Lucifer, which is a totally made up name. Lucifer doesn't exist. If Jerome, in his madness, admitted that he injected that word, I got to ask myself, well, who was Jerome, communing with? What was he channeling? But anyway, we've got to have the serpent, because this is where we've got to take the story. And the serpent is a metaphor for who knows what. I mean, if you buy the basis of the story, holy crapola, that was the Hobbit. That was the Lord of the Rings. That was Middle Earth. You had snakes that walked, talked, apparently got it on. And apparently man was nothing more than a grotesque anomaly in the animal kingdom, had a propensity for sex, would screw everything and anything, according to the Bronze books. And the problem with all of these stories is that every one of them omit some of the oldest writings that we know of now that were never known at the time when these story tales were being made. So let's continue with the programming. Because you see, this is all it is. It's a virus that's run amok in our species for thousands of years. Always the unseen. I challenge any God who claims itself to be God, manifest. You've got an open forum right here. Manifest. Love to have you. Show yourself. Come on. I mean, if you got the big balls and you're the one who's saying you're the big dick, all right, come on. Show yourself. That's a problem. But let's get back to this foundation about being cursed. One of the struggles I had for decades, you see, I never found, including myself, that could live to the tenets of the religion. That's the trap. You can't. But the thing I could never quite understand was curse. How could perfection curse? Curse a species. Wow. I mean, think about this, folks. I mean, if there is, in fact, the grain of truth embedded in all religious stories, then we have to say, well, then there's a kernel here. There has to be something more, and it would be wise for us to discuss it. Hey, Greg. So let's go to, here we go. By the way, I'll get to this. Our good friend Frater, Nathan, he has got, and thank you to the one person who sent this to me. Yeah, dealing with servitors. But let's get into the context of our discussion. So we're talking about curse. Now, how can a so-called perfect being utter a curse? Makes no sense unless it is already a curse. So in this book, and again, we're getting into a lot of the Abrahamic belief systems, which is the Abrahamic systems are anti-female. They're anti-feminine. It's messed up, man, but let's get into this thing. It says in the first 11 chapters of the Bible, all is about beginnings. And you notice that it's S, the beginning of all things in the natural world. Okay. You see the programming? The beginning of humanity. Now, archaeological evidence has shown that this story is no longer valid. Do you really think that the Earth is only 6,000 years old, that our species is only six? I mean, well, okay. The beginning of procreation. Not creation, but procreation. The beginning of God's wrath. Now, how does a perfect being in love have wrath? But you see, I was so conditioned that, as my lovely wife has said, she come from the Southern Baptist belief, where their belief, the Baptists believe God is the whack-a-mole God. You know the game at the carnivals, whack-a-mole? Well, that's God. And it's clearly represented in the beginning. So now we got God's wrath, the beginning of God's covenant promise. Now, this gets real interesting because promises, but how many of you know how many different covenants that this supposed perfect God has invoked? The beginning of recreation. So we have creation, procreation, now recreation, and the beginning of languages. That's the Tower of Babel. Now, under the spell, and this is a spell, I'll just be honest, folks, the Bible, Quran, Vedic, they're all spells. Why do you think they require you to repeat? Why do you think that they require that you begin to include this in your vernacular? All right. So more to the point of where we're getting at. So we're dealing with this supposed God of love, perfect God. I still hasn't answered to me, how did a perfect God bring forth, or because he says it's a creation of all things, and I don't see all with an askew that says, well, all except, no, it says all things. So it created imperfection. Again, I don't know how perfection can do that. How could perfection even conceive of imperfection? If that's the only environment you have, that realm is in a perfected state. So in chapter 3 is the beginning of sin and evil into the world. And when they hijacked this and had to do a reboot, that's what everyone thinks the Bible is, this King James nonsense. That isn't at all correct. But anyway, there were a number of books that the Vulgate had them in there, but not the new clean version. And yet this Christ dude says that the thing is, there is no sin. I could get deeper in that, but I would digress here, and I respect your time. It says, along with sin and evil. Now we got sin and evil. If you read the book, it would appear that evil is represented by an alien species, an alien race that had superior knowledge to the humans. Well, already you can see this is not a level playing field. And is the beginning of curses and an adversary. This begs, because if humanity would only be honest with itself, you'd have to say, what? So now we got curses, and now we have an adversary. Well, if we have an adversary, it meant it was an adversary before, I guess, we ever came along. says, needless to say, Genesis 3 is still a chapter of beginnings like that of chapter 1 and 2. This guy is so lost in his theology, but I like some of the points he brings out. It says chapter 3 will vividly paint the picture of the man and woman being deceived by the serpent and rebel against their creator. You know, the question that was never asked in church is, if you've got this perfect God, why would a perfect God have the need for any one of its creation to rebel against it? And then we get this thing being deceived by the serpent, not a serpent, but the serpent. Well, then that would be what? A reptile? The draconians? Is this what we're talking about here? Is the Palladians and, you know, the draconians and everybody else? I mean, are we really, what we're reading here is this galactic war? And how in the hell did we come along into this thing? Is this God really nothing more than a mad scientist, a mad geneticist? Because if you are a perfect God, Lilith brought the charge against this God and said, if you're perfect, why do you have those rebelling against you? Well, shit, Steiger, you can't be asking God that question. Yeah, I can't. Actually, he challenged me. And you know, the book of Isaiah, I challenge anyone to tell me what chapter. It's exactly what it said to do. So we've got a perfect creator that now is in a world that had to exist before we came along. So what kind of world was this? Were the animals talking, using a language that apparently these two humans, that was their creation, they suddenly knew how to speak. They suddenly had a vocabulary. How does a mind do that? Unless it's programmed. Because we know in the way that it goes naturally, a child begins by listening over and over again. The most amazing thing happens, and regardless of what part of the world you're in, the mind has this ability to basically blend itself seamlessly to a language. So we've got animals apparently that can fly, animals that can disappear, animals that seem to have magical abilities, suddenly now interacting with the zoo specimens, us. And it said God will then issue a tirade of curses as well as blessings. And you know, this is the part that just, wow. So how did a perfect God become so perfected in curses? Why would a perfect God have the need nor necessity to curse anything? So this is the Hebrew. Not going to read it. Not going to do it. You want it? I'll send it to you. Anyway, this is the translation. To the woman, Yahweh. Now, this is this son of a bitch, Yahweh. When I find this son of a bitch, I will be kicking it in the balls. This son of a bitch is a coward. But anyway, it also hates women, which tells me that it apparently is gay. That God, the creator God, is gay, a homosexual. But we know that Lilith said he also raped her and Eve. All right, so he swings both ways. All right, so now Yahweh showing you how much he hates the female, woman, girls. This God of the Bible hates women. It says, I will surely multiply your labor pains. Well, this gets an interesting question. How did Eve know what labor was? It would imply somehow that Eve apparently gave birth to something before this came. Because if this was already existing, it would be considered natural. So this sick, demented being says that it's going to punish women. As long as our species exists, he is going to punish them. Says, with pain, you will give birth to children, yet you will desire your husband and he will rule over you. I mean, how this is even allowed to be taught today without rebuttal is beyond me. I mean, you look at this and you just shake your head. I mean, this is not the language of a free being. This is a being that has now been subjected into abject enslavement. Wow. This is a curse. You know, I don't care how pissed off a God is supposedly gotten again. And why would a God get pissed off if it knew everything? This shouldn't be a surprise. And if it had a higher intelligence, surely it would find a better option. I mean, this is a lowbrow, intelligent being calling itself God. It says, then to Adama, that was the real Adama, Yahweh said, and here, this is now, are we talking about Jehovah Jireh here? The El Shaddai? Are we talking about Jesus Christ's daddy? Yes, we are. You go through the book of Matthew, 3 different places between the Old Testament and New Testament, you have the lineage of Adam that's tied to all the covenants. So the answer is yes, this is the Christian God. Gets really weird, doesn't it? He says, because you have listened to the voice of your wife. You see how much this thing hates women? My question is, you know, we know that and that's the difference between Genesis 1 and Genesis 3. In Genesis 1, they were both simultaneously brought about. In Genesis 3, there is this delay. Again, showing that Yahweh is a homosexual. He prefers strictly males. It's not me saying this, folks. It's what's written. So he's saying to Adam, you sorry SOB. You listen to your wife and have eaten from the tree which I commanded you, saying you shall not eat from it. And we get into that whole discussion. I do, back about 5 years ago. Now get this. Cursed is the ground. That means this God is cursing earth, which means earth is a cursed planet, which then you could extrapolate that, well, if it's a cursed planet, maybe this is truly a prison planet where all the dregs of this realm are sent to, never allowed to escape. The living hell would be a woman born in this realm. The women are at a disadvantage. This is what the book is saying. So he says, I'm cursing earth because of you. You know, here, this is the thing that gets me. So this being is saying, ain't my fault. But wait a minute, you said you created it. Listen, ain't my fault. He says, in toil, you will eat of it all the days of your life. So it means that we are, in essence, the food we eat is cursed. The animals are cursed. The plant light is cursed. The light is cursed. How can Jesus Christ be the light of the world if the light is cursed? Which means that from the earth you were born to the earth you were going, no resurrection, no existence. It says, you dust to dust you shall go. And then this sick son of a bitch didn't think that wasn't good enough, you know, already. No, he's going to go ahead and really pile it on. Both thorns and thistles, it will grow for you. Now, in the occult, we reverence Mother Earth. I knew a preacher who said it is a damnation and abomination for any person to say, blessed be Mother Nature. Yeah, this is a very well-known preacher. So the religion is hostile against even the thought of anyone calling Earth Mother. So this thing who said he created the earth has now cursed it and everything in it. If this is not a Halloween story that'll scare the crap out of you, then I got to ask yourself, do you have a heartbeat? Because it appears that this very curse is alive and well today. By the sweat of your face, you will eat food. Whoa, 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 whoa. It says, and you will eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your face, you will eat food. Okay, just throwing it out there for a friend. Does that mean that Adam had the ability that he didn't need to eat originally? That the body that was created by whoever was so well put together that it could extrapolate from the environment all of its nutrients. In the book, the Apocrypha, the Adam and Eve book, in there we know that they became very sick when they first ate of the plants, when they were kicked out of the proverbial test tube, Garden of Eden, and that they were sick because their bodies did not know how to digest food. The organs were apparently not needed. It was also the serpent that came and taught them about sex. So, but then again, it says, until you return to the ground, because from it you were taken, for you are dust, and to dust you shall return. Now, I'm one who believes that there is an afterlife, that there is something more. But if you take this literally from the Hebrew, which it is, for you are dust. Didn't say you are spirit. Doesn't say you are soul. It says you are dust, and to dust you shall return. Because that's where you came from. Wow. The Liber Lilith, I'm reading her words exactly, and we know how this was done. We know that Yahweh was not a very sharp individual. He's not really that brilliant. Granted, he's, if you take the story, he would be smarter than you and I, but that's because they came in and genetically modified us. Humanity is growing dumber. Because of all the nonsense of the last 2.5, 3 years, the general IQ scores have dropped 20 points. Folks, 20 points. That's an alarming. I mean, it's almost a catastrophe for our species that we have regressed, at least in this country, by almost 20% of our intellect. Whoa. So this is, you just look at this, and how do you not walk away in total disbelief? I mean, what this has said to us, it shows that we have no chance, none, of beating this. We have had the inability of over thousands of years. And I don't think any of us really know how. It could be tens of thousands of years. And we have not been able to beat this, to overcome it. I don't know about you, but if you want something to be afraid of, well, this one is a pretty good foundation. And it should just absolutely piss you off, is what it should do. There's nothing to be afraid about here at all. It shows that this is a murderous. I don't know where this being came from. I told you it's my belief because it says it. It came from darkness. Well, if it came from darkness, and it's saying and proclaiming itself as perfection, well, who's to challenge that? Because we can see by its actions that it's anything but perfection. And how did it learn to curse? Why would it even have the capacity again to ever needing to curse anything? You're God, for God's sake. Yet you have enemies. You have those who are rebelling, and now you're throwing out curses right and left to the thing that you've said that you created that was perfect. All right. I told you this would be a good one with Jeff. And I'm just asking folks, there are some very enlightened individuals, most of you are, that are listening to this. We've got to get serious about this. I think at some point in time, we got to stop playing house. And we have to admit that something's wrong. Something is fundamentally wrong. And why? You know, I see the nonsense in the area that I live in. People acting like animals. Hell, the animals are more courteous than some of the people I have seen recently. I mean, like they're ready to start a fight. And yet I'm surrounded by nearly a dozen churches, all proclaiming the good news that God is love and that he loves you and he sent his son, Jesus Christ, to die for you. Well, that's murder because he considers you his children. So you say that I'm a child, yet you're going to judge me as an adult. Which is it? I'm confused here. I mean, if it is, in fact, the way you take this, how old was Adam at this point? Less than 7 hours is what, if you read the book, that's what it says. This being was less than 7 hours old, and it's being cursed because it actually surprised the geneticists that it had the cognitive ability to think, to question. Now, I don't know you, but if I was a god, I'd consider that a graduation, a celebration. You thought. That's what I want for you. Question everything. Think. Now, that's what I would say would be a loving God, a creator, that wouldn't be cursing a woman for just being a woman. I mean, it's crazy, folks. Liz, sweetheart, I agree with you. Let's hope it's all just a bad dream. And you know, this is a freaking nightmare because it doesn't make sense. And I mean, we're tearing ourselves apart as a species right now. There is no love. Love and unity and reconciliation, you don't hear that today. It's not in social media platforms. It's damn sure not into what the mainstream programmers are doing, called the media. Well, they avoid anything that has anything to do with compassion, love, reconciliation. But boy, they love ratcheting up the rhetoric about war, hate, division. You're either this or you're that. Well, no, I don't want to be either. Screw you. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. Screw you. I don't want to. In fact, I don't want your damn politics. It's contaminated. It's cursed. It'll never solve anything. It's alive. Susie, ain't that the truth? Someone writes, Neota, then who is Lucifer, the light bringer? Well, apparently it's the enemy. You can't shed any light on this. That's the problem with the name Lucifer. I mean, he's the light bearer, and we know that it came from the sulfurous, the point, but yeah. And it seems like anyone that brings an alternative narrative to the table is branded a heretic. Oh, he's against religion. Yeah, I am. Like Marx says, it's the opiate of the people. When people get involved in religion and politics, their minds, they have this fugue. It's a brain cloud, like Joe versus the volcano said. They got the brain cloud. And once you got the brain cloud, whoop, baby, it's difficult to pull yourself out of that. Hey, Lauren, how you doing, my dear? Paul, what's up? It says, if Adam was smart, he would have told his wife to wear a... Whoa, Paul. Dude, I don't know about that. No, I can't go with that. No. I'm sure you're saying that in jest. Janet, how are you doing? I've been sober, almost changed my mind. Nothing good can come. Folks, I'm just kind of bringing into the discussion. I mean, I see so much out there, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, if magic and the occult is an alternative answer, then we should be seeing better results, and we're not. So something's messed up. Something's flawed here. I don't know what. You can't continue to do the same experiment or process and expect a different result. I don't know. When I look at all the people, going all the way to John D, even before then, what happened? I mean, if John D, and I have a great deal of respect for him, I think that he was a remarkable individual, but if he had the knowledge, they wiped it out, they burned it. It's the problem I see in this whole equation. If the Library of Alexandria contained what it was said to have contained, which was virtually, it would have been the Google of its day, it had all the knowledge of the pre-Adamites was in there. The Egyptians were able to build monuments around the world with a technology that we don't even know. I say modern science is outdated magic, but the point is that there's been very few books that I could actually say that I've read that I would consider genuine in the aspect of what they're saying. The Library of Lilith is one of them. That book still profoundly impacted my whole psyche. Because if Lilith has metamorphized into the convoluted serpent, then this is all a mirage. Our whole lives are being manipulated by beings that we're not even aware of. I don't know. Lucky says, perhaps nothing is flawed or cursed. Perhaps it's all from the perception of where you are standing. The power is within you. Francis, to each, you have your thought on that. Listen, I only know is that by observation, you have to weigh the results. And then that means the collective, it's not, wherever you're standing, yeah, it's a constant. It's not static. It's dynamic in its nature, but something's wrong. I wish I could be sitting here And, maybe I am the one naysayer out there. It doesn't matter. I just simply say this, prove me wrong. Show me with evidence something that is in fact working. Show me anything out there that is promoting on not just on small enclaves, but on the big picture, the big platform, as they used to say in NASCAR, going to the big show. Where are we having an impact? I get it. We are having an impact individually and again, into small enclaves, but I just don't see it on a larger basis. I call congressmen and women because I'm neither side of that, but I ask their aides all the time, why isn't your person, whoever, man or female, woman, why aren't they promoting bills of peace, bills of reconciliation? Why isn't more money being put into programs that build unity, that are not divided by simple politics or ideologies? I never get back. We're on a course, and I keep on, maybe I'm the only guy on the wall screaming, it ain't working, folks. We got to figure this thing out. And I'm certainly open for anyone. Hey, David Barry. I love people. I love my species. I know we're capable of so much more. But it would seem, by all the evidence, over many thousands of years, we're cursed. And the curse becomes generational. You heard the idiom, the sins of the father are visited upon the sons. You've heard the phrase families being cursed to the seventh son, 10 generations. I mean, rumors were that the Kennedys were cursed. And evil does exist. But the question is, again, if it's an alien species, then we're completely at a disadvantage. No matter what we do is going to fail. Now, if we're responsible and we alone are responsible for it, then we're missing the track. I mean, we're so far off the path. We've got to get back on the path. Humanity accepting the fact that we're doing this to ourselves. I don't see angels. I don't see demons. I don't see gods out there in the battlefield killing each other. I see us killing each other. I don't see these gods. And if it's a demon or an angel that's causing one person to be good or one person to be evil, then we are merely puppets. We have no sovereignty because it exists. I mean, you don't have to go far to see how bad it is. The violence, people attacking people, people swindling, stealing, lying, cheating. I mean, yeah. Oh, we love to promote the fact that, it's like, okay, fine. Tell it to me says, I'm on the outside looking in to this reality. No, my friend, you're flat in the middle of it. That's just what it is. Lost in Space says, too many minds in the state of confusion will keep this things. Oh, and it's, in fact, it's interesting that you write that, Lost in Space, because that is one of the articles I read in a different, that chaos is ruling supreme. This was from a mainstream outlet. And when the writers begin to use such terms as chaos, everything seems to be in a chaotic mess. And I agree. Operation Overlord, overload. Yeah, it is. I think we are overloaded. Um, that was one of the things, when I used to have to go to Vegas. I think it's this week, Money 2020, which I attended the first one and the first and nearly 8 of them. But I was in Vegas, and I can remember I was at the Aria, and you become very much aware that it's designed to overload your senses. Large groups will do that anyway, but the whole perception is what it creates, this illusion. And it's all designed to overload your senses. And I wonder if that's what's being played on us. Wes Gray said, I think of the 5 of Swords indicated that Wayne, what was that? I don't know. Red Herring, how are you doing? The system needs us to be subordinate to it in order for it to work. It's a frequency, lower bandwidth of consciousness. Yeah, I kind of contend that that's what this whole 3G, 4G, 5G, 7G now they're actually testing. I think it's having a very adverse effect upon us. I can't read anything unless you can show me some study that was from 1,000 years ago of what does microwave do when you constantly bombard the cranial part of the human mind by that. How does the organs react when you're sending microwaves through them? And yeah, and by the way, these microwaves are carrying data. I mean, if our minds are as in tune as what I believe they were created to do, then we're being bombarded with information. Wi-Fi is all around us. We're all in a magnetic soup, electromagnetic soup. And are you telling me then that unless it's broken down in a specific receiver and then broadcast, that the human brain doesn't somehow be impacted by all of this information floating out there? Yeah, Amy, how you doing? It's the Matrix. Divine Empress, how are you doing? We're having fun here. We're having a lot of fun in here. So just something to think, holy crap, this hour just went by like that. Well, I've had fun. I don't know if everybody else. Listen, we come here to discuss, and there is no thought superior or lesser to any other thought. It's an opportunity to come and discuss, and there are many different points of view, which is good and healthy. I respect all of them, may not agree with them, but I respect you. It's the beautiful thing. If we could just all learn just to simply allow other thoughts and opinions, and, as long as it doesn't hurt or harm another person, yeah. Ballot Brand, thank you, my brother. Appreciate it. Brian, 1958, how you doing? Good day to you, and happy Halloween. Brenda Smith, it was fun. Thank you. Yeah, I love having these discussions. I think about them all the time. And I guess that's why I think the mystery schools should become a mainstream part of our curriculum in teaching our children. We should have the mystery schools. They should be given an alternative than the broken educational system we have today. I'd love to be able to see the witches and the warlocks, the sorcerers to come in and teach our children, teach them math, teach them English, teach them about the elements. I don't know. At least that's my thought. So, Constant, how are you? Good to see you. Only Husk, number 4668. How are you doing? Well, all right. Till tomorrow, be on with Trina. We may pick this back up. I mean, maybe this is the way we do it. Maybe it is the small enclaves that begin to filter in an alternative message. And I know that the force that's here today is doing its best to squash it. Thank you for hitting the like button as well. Appreciate that. Susie Q, much love to you, darling. Absolutely. Lost in Space, appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that. Yeah, I think, Brenda, we will, because this needs to be talked about, and I'd love to hear y'all's opinions on it. I mean, boy, to have y'all all of this into a room, we'll put it into the Akashic record. That's what I say. All right, folks, until tomorrow, much love to you. If you celebrate the Halloween, hey, do it with a smile. All right, spread a little love.